Backpack-to-Briefcase event, which is what can I do with a major in the social sciences. And we have 4 wonderful alums who had various degrees in the social sciences, and they're going to share with you tonight some insights into how they took their education forward into their careers. And I think you're going to be very impressed with where they are in their lives and how they have applied their education to become very successful, and I hope happy people too. I'm Linda Ross. I'm Director of Career Planning, and this event is co-hosted by my office and also the wonderful Office of Alumni Relations. There they are. See those 3 wonderful women right there. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Caroline Galvin.
Class of?
Class of 08.
Anna Gutierrez, class of 1996.
Dana Riccozzi, not Whittier class, and we're not going to discuss that.
And also as an observer. Class of, oh no, never mind. However, the winning person that guessed her major, does anyone know what her major was? We did a little guess her major. Well, it was psychology. Yes, right, yes. And I'm going to announce the winner tomorrow. We're also, I want to tell you now, in case I forget at the end, that we have other events next semester, and this is the last one for this semester. Is there anyone here that came to all 4 events? Okay, I was going to give a prize to that person. But at the end, we will have prizes as well for all of you doing a couple of drawings at least. Okay, so this is the format of the evening. Each one of our wonderful alumni visitors, alumnus and alumna, are going to give a little background, and then after they're finished, we're going to let you break up into small groups and meet with them, and then we'll have a little switching later so that you can meet with another one and they can share with you more individually. Right now, I'd like to give them a sample of who's in the room. So beginning with you in the back, if you could introduce yourself, say your major, your class level, and what your interest in a career is, or your concern. For instance, if you're undeclared, and you could say, well, at this point I don't know what I'm doing with my life, or I do have some ideas and I'm interested in this. Okay? Want to start?
Alright, my name is Kevin Mancia. I'm a sophomore. My major is biology, and I'm going to be an orthodontist.
Thank you.
Tom Martinez. My major is kinesiology, and I hope to go into pre-physical therapy.
My name is Matt Lane. I'm a Lancer. I'm a kinesiology major, and I'm not sure what I want to do yet.
Reggie Lancer, sociology junior, not sure yet.
I'm Melanie. I'm a senior. I'm a political science and cultural studies major, and I'm looking into grad school for public policy administration.
My name is Travis Arola. I'm trying to do the 3-2 engineering program. I'm a sophomore.
My name is Paul Steplerkamp. I'm a senior economics major looking to go get my PhD after this year.
My name's Adam. I'm a poli-sci and econ major, and I don't really know what I want to do yet. I'm a sophomore.
Brandon Walters, junior, math and physics major, mechanical engineer.
Hi, I'm Jeanette. I'm a junior. I'm a social work major, and I kind of go to graduate school for social work, and then later on to law school.
My name is Marina. I'm a Spanish major. I'm a senior, and I'm looking into grad schools for social work to become a clinical social worker.
Hi, I'm Adriana, and I think I want to do Whittier Scholars for film, and I'm a freshman.
I'm Emily. I'm a senior. I'm a history major, and I want to be an elementary school teacher.
My name is Janice. I'm a junior, and I'm a double major in business administration.
And what do you want to do?
I don't know.
I'm Candace. I'm a freshman. I want to do the Whittier Scholar program, and I want to mix health, law, and political science, and then go to law school to be a human rights lawyer, and then I will earn an MBA.
I'm Ashley. I'm a freshman. I'm undeclared, and I'm done with them.
Thank you very much. Very interesting mix of those who are very specific and those who are wide open to possibilities. Okay, so think about where you started back here in Whittier College, and should we start with the youngest member?
Sure.
All right, so we'll have Sofie Cervantes.
My name is Sofie Cervantes, and I'm glad you guys are all here and listen to different generations of knowledge. So I'm kind of fresh out of, and I just graduated in 2007. When I began Whittier College, I was a bio pre-med, and not that that's still good. Throughout my exploring of liberal arts and because of the requirements, I had to take a social sciences. So I took social work, intro to social work with Paula Sheridan, and it was very, very convincing to me that I think I had a change of heart at that point. And I just felt that although I'm still intrigued by medicine, and I look at medical schools, and I'm like, maybe later on the road, but at that point in my life, I just said, I'm in scholarship essays and in speeches that I would give, I would always say, I want to come back to my community and help. And I kind of stopped and I thought, as a doctor, that would be awesome, but it would take me a long time. And my desire was just so big to come back and do something already that I decided to go for a social work degree, and it's been all that I expected. So I majored in social work, and I got a minor in Spanish. It's kind of a good mix of my personal interests, and then just being a Latina, I do want to be able to empower populations that perhaps are oppressed or have limited resources, and I just thought that it was a great definition of what I wanted to do for the rest of my life, and that with social work I can do it in any kind of setting. So I can do the clinical social work, and maybe that my desire for medicine could be kind of satisfied in that sense, or I can be in the jails or in the schools, or what I'm currently doing, which I'm enjoying very, very much. And I work for Progressive Resources, and we're here in Santa Fe Springs, and it's an agency that serves people and family with special needs, especially autism, but we have autism, Down syndrome, cerebral palsy, mental retardation, a lot of different special needs. And we're a very eclectic agency. We don't just focus on one ideology. We just kind of grab from a little bit of a lot of theories, and it serve not only the individual with special needs, but as it pertains to social work, we're very ecosystem and person and environment. So we have sibling groups, we have family support groups. I facilitate a parent support group, a Spanish one actually, and that's my way of empowering them for now. And I have goals or plans to soon begin my master's program in Cal State Long Beach next semester, fall semester. So hopefully we can do more with that. So yeah, it's where I've been. It's kind of where I'm at right now.
Should be sitting on the floor that I have to get up and tell you. Would you like to highlight any of your liberal arts skills that you developed in your undergraduate program that you think you apply every day in your work?
Definitely, sociology and social work are kind of very similar, but under those liberal arts requirement, that was involved, and I had to take one. And I see, especially in social work, you can concentrate, with people that I work with, I can concentrate on kind of just, oh, this is a behavior, use a little bit of psychology that we use, this is just a behavior, and, in our field, they're hitting their head, they're, hiding under the table, and I can say that with just that requirement that school put on thinking outside the box, because that's really what they're trying to make you do. You're just thinking, economics, and you kind of just think of that, and we sometimes don't think of, okay, well, how does the health policies have to do with it, and how does this have to do with it? And I think that's what they try to make us do. So in my field, I think, I'm able to look beyond just that behavior and kind of sit down and say, okay, well, I do in-home support services, so I go into the home and I say, okay, well, how's the home? How does it look? What's the background of the parents? A lot of the times I don't meet the client till, or I don't start directly working with the client till like 2 months after, because it doesn't matter at this point. I need to know where the family's at, and I need to know what the environment is in order for that to have an impact on the child. So definitely, I think, everything, but I won't just single out subjects. I think it was just the fact that, especially in social work, class after class, it was like, well, what does that have to do with this subject? And I was like, really? Nothing, at that point. And And now, you know, you kind of just realize that it does. Everything has to do with everything. And I think that, you know, daily reminder of having to do that, they kind of trained us to do that. So now when we're spontaneously supposed to go out to the world and, you know, engage in our professions, I think that now we're trained enough to where you make yourself think that way. And you look at your coworkers who have a degree as well, and some of them don't have that ability because maybe they weren't required to think outside the box. So whereas I might be looking at the same child, they might be thinking just behavior, I might be looking at what could be this, and that. And it might bring more doubt, but it also brings more areas of exploration, which can finally lead you to that progress you're looking for. You know, so.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Yeah, our next speaker is actually one of our newest employees here at the college. Adam Kaplan is our director of HR now.
I'm also an alum of the college. I graduated in '93, and piggybacking on what Sofie said, you know, you really have to follow your heart, your career, and what you want to do with your life. Career-wise, when I started here at Whittier, I came in as a history major, and I feel like as I progressed through my career, I kind of fell into everything that I got involved with. I didn't think I wanted to go into resources where I am now. I started off thinking I'd be going to law school. And I started off as a history major, and then I took a couple psychology courses. I found that I really enjoyed psychology. And I said, okay, you know, I can major in psychology, gain the writing skills I need for law school still in psychology, and was still taking history as a minor, also some social work and sociology. And I graduated from Whittier, went into workforce for a year while I was preparing for law school. Got into Southwestern Law School here in LA. And took a summer program right before law school started. I do public interest law because I really enjoyed my social work, my sociology courses that I did here at Whittier. And I just realized during that summer session, this is not for me. I'm not going to be sitting in the pretty much in the classroom for 4 years and pretty much the rest of my life in an office, just contained. I really need to interact with people more. And I just found out about myself being in the workforce for a year. So what I did at that point was I said I really enjoyed my psychology. I went back for my master's in psychology, clinical psychology. While I was doing that at night and working during the day in a human resources department with a law enforcement agency, actually, the Orange County Sheriff's Department. And that's where I kind of fell into human resources. While I was completing my master's degree, which I did complete, I started my hours towards licensure for a psychologist and found that I was kind of burning out almost. I was taking too much to heart. A lot of counseling sessions, I was dealing with a lot of family child counseling. There was a lot of child abuse. And I felt like I was taking it home too much with me. But during the day, I was also working still in human resources and recruiting. And that's when I decided I'm going to make a change and stay in human resources because I can use the skills that I developed in psychology for employee relations and human resources, yet I like the structured business aspect of working in a business environment. So it merged kind of my two passions, having working in a structured business environment, yet working with people on a daily basis. And when I started human resources 14 years ago, it really was first evolving. It wasn't really a degree program where you had a lot of human resources management degree programs out there. Right now you do have like organizational development that you're seeing really structured in universities, but those programs weren't really there. So I had to go back for another year to get knowledge base of human resources. And I kind of landed at a nonprofit after that. I operated the LA County Museum of Art in Lackawanna. And I worked myself through the ranks. I started off as a recruiter and eventually became their HR director when the HR director relocated. I was there 9 years before I came here to Whittier this past September as their HR director. It's such a great joy to come back to the place, the college that gave me pretty much my experience on where I kind of wanted to evolve as a professional with my background. The one thing that I'd say about Whittier is that the experiences you have in the classroom are so valuable because you have small classrooms that you interact with your professors, and the writing skills that you are able to develop here is just phenomenal. And employers look upon that when they look at your resumes, your cover letters. They look at that when they hear you speak or engage during interviews when you're going for a job, or even for graduate school when you're going for interviews for programs. It's so valuable what you get here. I know because I have Cal State system. And when I was going to school, Cal States were more Scantron tests, and the writing skills and also conversational skills weren't really developed in the classroom. But here at Whittier it is. And my cousin, who's in this Cal State system now, with the cutbacks, they're going more to online courses rather than in-person courses. They're taking very few in-person classroom courses. So take advantage of the opportunities you have here at Whittier, interacting with your professors who are always there, I know, in courses as well as outside of the coursework. You see them on campus at lunch and CI. You really need to take advantage of those opportunities. And don't be afraid that you don't know where you want to go at this point in your career. You have to follow your heart, because your career is something you're going to do for the rest of your life. It's something you have to enjoy. And it's not always a process you solve here in 4 years. It's sometimes taking that first job or going to graduate school and then realizing where you're going to land. That's the best advice I can give.
Thank you. Okay. Carrissa Villalobos.
Hi there. I think there's a little bit of a difference probably between me and everybody. Is everybody here just went right from high school to here to Whittier? Anybody here not do that? You know what I mean? Okay, so I took some time off after high school until I was 30. So that's a little bit of time. But I was out there working, and I found something, and actually it was nonprofit administration, that was really, I thought it was the whole nonprofit thing that I liked. What I liked was being a fixer. I liked fixing things, figuring things out, how to make them work better, more efficiently, things like that. So that when I decided to go, okay, I should probably go to college, that's what I focused on, is I'd already had the work experience, so that when I came here, when I was a little older, it was, it was twofold. One, there were the interaction with the professors for me was phenomenal, because I came in and I was a poli-sci major, and immediately, so some of those professors are all still here. I mean, I wasn't here that long ago, only like 10 or 12 years. And, Dr. Bergson and McBride and a bunch of those. And then I had, a couple of different professors who aren't here anymore. And what I found was that I transferred as a junior, so I only had to do a few, I had to do my pair, which I don't know, don't call them pairs anymore.
Yeah.
They call them something else. Do they still call them pairs? Okay. So that was nice. So what I found was that all of this things that I didn't have to do before, or when I was at, junior college, was the writing, because I came in and suddenly I'm taking all these upper division poli-sci classes, and that's all you do, is write, and write, and write. And my particular focus was on Southeast Asian politics, which isn't, it's really interesting probably to history majors and maybe other Southeast Asian politics people. But what it did was it kind of exposed me to other cultures, the idea that politics is the same and different everywhere. I mean, it really is the same and different, and or the political systems. And so, I loved being here, and not only the academic part and the intellectual part, but quite honestly, I had a great time just being here. I had fun here. We sat around, and I went to the Havana House because it was around then even. With other classmates, and that was really nice. And talking to other classmates, I kind of figured out, what do I want to do? What are they doing? Who's interested in this? Who's interested in that? Because I'll tell you the truth, I didn't know for sure what I wanted to do, even at being an older student. And so when I graduated, I thought, well, maybe I'll go back into, now that I'm a college graduate, I'll go back into nonprofit administration. And but I had learned all these other things and thought of all these other things, and had stimulated my mind, in my opinion, to the point where I realized, I like learning. I don't necessarily want to be at a drudgery job for the rest of my life, but I like learning. And so what I thought was, well, you know, I don't think that I can ever know everything about the law, and which is true. And so I went to law school, and my political science background really helped with that, all the writing, because like he said, I mean, it was all about writing, and the experience that I had here, it prepared me for that. You know, so I'm an attorney, and need to say I went to law school and graduated and passed the bar and all that. But you don't have to be an attorney doesn't mean you have to sit in an office all day at a law firm. You know, I've done a bunch of things. I worked for a bankruptcy trustee right out of law school, and then I worked for you know, in the investment banking world as a fixer, really, as an organizer, as a doing everything in the company that needs doing on a business level, other than the actual selling. That part I don't necessarily like. So, but you can take a law degree and do almost anything with it. I mean, seriously, you don't have to be a practicing lawyer like you imagine. You go to a law firm, they're in front of books all day, or a researcher, but you can do anything with it, because every single thing has a legal aspect. So you can be in any job, and your legal education, if anybody decided to want to be lawyers or do, comes in handy. It always does. So, you know, but being here and having really the breadth of everything, as far as what you're required to take, is really nice. Because let me tell you, you know, I have a best friend from high school. She went to ASU. She majored in education, and let me tell you, that's all she knows. She couldn't write a letter to save her life. And at our, you know, and I mean, she's a great teacher, but it's really nice being at a place where you're learning a lot of different things, you know, because you never know when they're going to come in handy or where that opportunity is going to lead you.
Okay, great, thank you. Now, Miguel Santana.
Hi. I grew up in the city of Bell Gardens. I graduated from high school in 1987, and I came to Whittier by accident because one of my teachers, after I had already been accepted to UC San Diego, suggested I come to a smaller school one, so I interviewed and I fell in love with it. I ended up being a Whittier Scholars. I double majored in sociology and Latin American studies. When I came in, I was determined to be a foreign correspondent in Latin America. There was a lot of stuff going on in Central America during that time. And I ended up studying abroad. I studied abroad in Chile for a semester, and ended up minoring in Spanish. While I was here, I was very involved in a variety of different activities that ended up helping me both in terms of applying what I'm learning in the classroom, but also in terms of the kind of career I ended up going into. I was very involved in sort of the recruitment and admissions office. At the time I was working on trying to get more Latino students into the college. I was also very involved in a rotating homeless shelter that is open during the winter months in Whittier, in the city of Whittier. I recruited students to volunteer there during that period of time. And I had a few other jobs. When I graduated, it was a sort of a similar time as we're having now. It was a pretty bad recession in the early 90s. And I applied to 50 different jobs and had only a handful of interviews that I was able to get. And it was the experience that I had here that sort of gave me a competitive edge. I applied to homeless sort of services and to cities and to colleges doing admissions work. And I ended up getting a job at Pomona College doing admissions work there in Claremont. In between, I got married. Actually, I got married here at the college, and we had a reception at the faculty center. How many of you know Les Howard? Les Howard was in my wedding. There's a few other professors that were there. So I spent a couple years doing admissions work at Pomona College. And there was a big civil unrest decided to get involved in that kind of work. And I got a job at the Mexican American Legal Defense and Educational Fund, MALDEF, which is sort of like a law firm, a civil rights law firm, a national civil rights law firm based here in Los Angeles, where I got to get involved in a number of different political and policy issues. From that work, I got to meet a lot of the new emerging leadership elected leadership from LA, and was offered a position to work with the new county supervisor, who had just been elected, Supervisor Gloria Molina. So I decided to take that job, and I worked there for, I ended up working there for 14 years. I started off doing specific legislation on different issues. I ended up overseeing practically every issue at some point, and left my career as chief of staff. In between, I decided to take a sabbatical, and I decided to go to graduate school to get a master's degree, and I applied to get into the Kennedy School at Harvard, and I got in and spent a year there, took my whole family there, and we lived in Cambridge. Was able to finish that. And one of the benefits of coming to a place like Whittier is that when I called Les and I asked him, could you write me a letter of recommendation, this is now, you know, way over a decade after I had graduated, he knew exactly who I was. He had a file for me, he wrote a letter, and I think it played a huge role in why I got accepted to the Kennedy School. But I was able to apply a lot of and we're since good friends, and we've stayed in touch. I'm also good friends with Rafael Chabran. I ended up hiring his son to work for me and supervise Molina's office as an intern. Now he's very successful. He has a very successful career there. I talk to him regularly, actually. So I went to graduate school, decided to go back to the county, and then left to work at a law firm. Even though I'm not an attorney, you know, given the public policy work that I did, I was able to work with the law firm and help them figure out how to communicate sort of high-profile cases to regular people. So one of the cases that I oversaw was Dan Rather's case against CBS, and helped him sort of figure out how to communicate his message to a broader audience. And I was doing that job, and I got called by the new CEO from the county of Los Angeles, who asked me to come back to the county to be a deputy CEO to oversee all the social services. So that includes children's services, sort of the welfare system, senior issues, homeless issues. And so I accepted that position and did that for almost 2 years. And was pretty happy doing that job. I got called by the mayor of Los Angeles to see if I would be the chief administrative officer for the city of LA. So I accepted that position and have been doing it now for 3 months. And I could honestly say that I wouldn't be in the position that I have now hadn't I come to Whittier. I mean, Whittier was really the place where I sort of learned beyond just my own community, and really thought about how to make connections between disciplines and issues, and how to figure out how to best communicate particular ideas. Certainly the analytical skills that you develop here are important and are critical to any job that you end up having. And the fact that it's a place where you can't hide actually is a huge benefit. You know, I certainly, when I was here, if you didn't come to class because you were sick, then there was a good likelihood that the professor would call you to find out what was going on. My daughter goes to Columbia University, and that doesn't happen to her at all. But it's a place where you can't hide, so you're forced to really be prepared and think about how it is that you want to contribute to whatever subject that you're discussing, or at least figure out how to BS your way through that day.